We have a very big and fun week ahead of us with MMA, and today, guys, I have the complete betting guide with primarily talking about UFC 320, but I wanted to talk about a couple PFL fights, a couple One Championship fights. We are going to be giving the complete betting guide today with timestamps if you'd like to skip to any part of the video. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with too many YouTube channels. Guys, we are going to be going through the channel betting recap, confident picks, underdog opportunities, fights that I believe you should not be betting on, my personal lock of the week, and then we're going to close things out with the more unstructured part of the video, that being looking for any props that are available right now and building any ridiculous parlays that we can build. Again, unstructured part of the video, okay? The rest of the video is pretty structured over here. With that being said, like I said, guys, timestamps will be there if you'd like to skip to any part of the video. Let's get started with the channel betting recap. Now, unfortunately, this is the weirdest betting recap that we've had probably on the channel history. I'll read you what I said over here in the YouTube community post. No members only video today. As you might know, I have hated this card for betting all week, which I've spoke about that. It was one of the worst cards, UFC Perth that we just had. It was one of the worst betting cards that we've had, in my opinion. I thought it was a complete minefield. Unfortunately, my only play, which was Elliott versus McAuliffe over 1.5 rounds, was canceled. I was then considering something small in Louis Sutherland, but that got canceled as well. I don't feel there is anything else to safe to bet on. Because of that, I'm going to have two separate fun and entertainment parlays. Keep in mind, I am literally only throwing $5 at these. I like the chances for the odds, but MMA parlays are always too crazy, and I rarely put anything significant on them. I'm going to this knowing that I will probably lose $10. Apologies if this is disappointed. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first time we haven't had any concrete play since we started this channel. We'll be back and ready to go with the following cards. Thank you for the support. So, guys, if you've been following the channel, you might know that I like to play as safe as I possibly can, and I hate MMA parlays. And I went against my own advice a little bit. We were so close. We had one fun parlay with Colby Thickness and Carlos Ulberg to win. Odds were phenomenal. It all worked out just because of that. But you know what? If you guys watched the betting guide, one of my confident picks was Jimmy Crute. I saw a clear path to victory. I saw a hole in the ground game, and I was like, Jimmy Crute's going to ragdoll this dude. Then, stupid me watched the weigh-ins. And I was like, okay, Ivan Urslin's he's pretty big over there. I could see him chinning Jimmy Crute. I could see him hurting Jimmy Crute. So I threw him in a fun parlay. Didn't work out, unfortunately, but Cam Roston ended up getting the job done as well. Man, I took a shot in the dark with that one. Didn't work out, but of course, again, with fun parlays, I do it every week with the fun parlays. I throw $5 at a parlay, and because I hate MMA parlays so much that I literally only throw $5 at it. If you guys are interested in what we typically do with the channel, typically I have official plays out there. Again, I don't think there's ever been a week where I didn't have any concrete plays. We've been doing very well with the betting and the plays that we've decided to play. I already know a couple fights that I am going to be betting on this upcoming weekend. Feeling a lot better about this card for UFC Perth, or in comparison to UFC Perth. So if you guys would like to either support the channel or see what I'm doing with my own money to combine my own fight knowledge with your own research, check out the channel membership in the pinned comment description down below or right next to the subscribe button. You can, every single Friday or Saturday, if you subscribe over there, it's very cheap compared to other channels. I will post exactly what I'm doing with my own money and uploading a community members post with a members only video explaining why I'm doing what I'm doing with each bet. So again, if you'd like to either support the channel or combine my fight knowledge with your own research, if you're interested to see what I'm betting on, you can check that out. Additionally, OddsGym is a tool that we use in the channel. If you'd like a discount over at OddsGym, you can check that out. Pinned comment, description down below. Use my link, code Clenbat. You can get a discount when signing up, guys. With that being said, let's get into the confident picks for today, and I am excited to talk about this card because there are a lot of fights we can talk about, okay? The first confident pick is going to be Veronica Hardy, okay? It's more so because Brogan Walker is garbage. She's 36 years old. Veronica Hardy hasn't done anything spectacular in the UFC, but I would imagine this is a layup because Veronica Hardy is a fairly promotable fighter, I will say. And she's going to get the job done. Brogan Walker is pretty useless, a grappler who likes to strike. Veronica Hardy will be able to nullify anything that she wants to do. She'll probably pick her apart on the feet. Not going to be too much of an exciting fight. People are just going to want to watch Veronica Hardy for just her presence inside the octagon. So Veronica Hardy is going to be the first confident pick of mine over here. And for these betting guide videos, guys, if you are new to the channel over here, I already have a full card breakdown out, diving as deep into each matchup and each fighter as deep as we can possibly get. So if you're interested in my expanding the conversation with each fight, you can check that out. This is a little bit more of a recap for some confident picks, okay? The next confident pick is going to be Austin Vanderford. He's just been more impressive, in my opinion, than Ramiz Brahimaj. While I know Ramiz has been on a little bit of a win streak over here, hasn't been like crazy impressive in my opinion. I like Austin Vanderford. I like his mindset. I like how much he's dedicated to the game. I like how serious he is about the state that he's at in the UFC right now. He's dedicated to growing. He came in, made a statement in the UFC, made a statement in the LFA, and I know he hasn't been perfect, but I think that he's on a little bit of a roll right now, and I think that he can find his takedowns in this fight, and I think that he'll either find a TKO like he did previously, or he can coast his way to a decision with the wrestling. I think he will have an advantage with the wrestling over here. So Austin Vanderford is another fighter that I like to win on this card over here. Let's continue on to the next confident pick over here. Let's circle on over to the PFL. It's going to be Vinicius Sensi. He came into the PFL, and losing to Brett Primus isn't really anything to, like, you know, be too shameful about, but he bounced back. He got a nice win, and for this matchup specifically, I like his chances as a hungry guy in his prime with a, you know, he's not the best fighter in the world, but the skill set that he's shown so far, I think is just going to be better than Takashi Izumi over here. Sorry, I'm still getting used to pronouncing some of these names, who has been way more unimpressive. He's 36 years old. I like Sensi to end up to win this matchup over here. He's another confident pick of mine over here. I don't mind what I've seen from him so far. Okay, let's continue on over to the next confident pick. We are going to circle over to one championship. That's going to be Zanchar Zakirov to get the job done. He's been a very young, hungry contender, bursting on the scene, 13-0. He's been looking good so far. Don't get me wrong, he's not looking like a world beater or anything, but I think from what we've seen so far, he's shown to be better than the Wolf Warrior. I think that he's going to come in, he's going to work his game, he's going to get the job done. He's 22 years old. He is improving, hungry, won championships, putting some stock into him too. I think that he's going to get the job done over here, and I have no idea what the odds are for this one, but I like him to get the job done over here, okay? Let's continue on to the next confident pick, and this I would imagine is going to be on everybody's confident picks list. It's going to be a Teba Gautier. What? Bout canceled? Oh, what? Oh, I didn't know that. Well, saved himself from a beating. Let's continue on to the next confident pick, okay, guys? It's going to be Joe Pyfer. Guys, I think that Joe Pyfer is just a level above an Abus Magomedov. I think that we're going to need to see Joe Pyfer fight guys that can really push a chaotic, hard pace to see if Joe Pyfer can get over what we saw as weakness being in the Jack Hermanson fight. We've seen Joe Pyfer now take on some really tough guys. We've seen him get 2 wins in a row. He is still fearless in the octagon. He fixed the cardio. He can go 3 hard rounds. And I know that Abus Magomedov has improved his game. I don't think I think if they're standing, Joe Pyfer is going to be better. He's going to hit harder. He's going to demand some respect in the octagon. Perhaps even find a finish. But Abus, of course, people are talking about the ground game that he presents. I think that Joe Pyfer has a good enough ground game to not only match Abus Magomedov, not only to nullify Abus Magomedov, but I think Joe Pyfer might be able to beat Abus Magomedov on the ground. He is a very serious grappler. I know we all look at him as a knockout artist, but I think that Joe Pyfer is an extremely well-rounded fighter, and I just think that he is on another level in comparison to Abus Magomedov. I really like Joe Pyfer. This is a fighter that I'm considering betting on. I think that he's going to get the job done. Majorly hungry, majorly motivated. I see a path to victory for him, okay? Let's continue on over back to the PFL, and it's going to be Makashirap Zainikunov is going to get the job done over John Mitchell. He's just been more impressive. The guy's been on a roll. He's been looking good, and I don't see anything that John Mitchell can bring to really stop the game that Makashirap Zainikunov, excuse me, guys. I hate talking about these sometimes because when I mispronounce the names, I know that it comes off like I don't know what I'm talking about. My apologies for that. I like him to get the job done. I'm going to be working on it, okay? I think he's going to win the fight against John Mitchell, okay? Let's continue on to the final confident pick that we have for the card today, and it's going to be Magomed Ankalaev. Guys, Magomed Ankalaev came in last time around. He showed that he was absolutely fearless to Alex Pereira's game and beat him for 5 rounds. I see no reason as to why he can't do that again. Alex Pereira, he has lost all of his aura. Alex Pereira is coming in. He's being a little bit weirder. He's not being like the stoic, I'm going to kill you type guy that he's been. He has the Nina drama curse, of course. He's past his prime. He's 38 years old. We could have seen him in his last fight, the time where Alex Pereira actually ends up slowing down. We don't know that for sure, but I think and on top of that, how many times have we seen the champions that lose their belt come in, get an immediate rematch, and don't end up actually getting that belt back? I know it can happen. I know Alex Pereira has all of the power in the world, but Ankalaev is too well-rounded. Ankalaev is too good. He's too dedicated. He's not like the walking around the superstardom, walking around Halloween houses, scaring people, making TikToks on Nina drama. The dude's dedicated. I would imagine that he's probably going to have a little bit of the same performance that we saw last time out against Alex Pereira. So Magomed Ankalaev is another confident pick of mine. Now let's get into some Underdog opportunities. I'm excited to talk about this one, guys, okay? Out of At all of the fights at the UFC 320 card, these aren't bets that I'm going to be making. It's just underdogs where I see a lot of value for what they're at. It would not shock me if these underdogs won, and it's something that I think, like, if you're looking to take a stab at some underdogs, I don't mind these picks at all, okay? The first one's going to be Yana Santos. Now, I know you might be saying, Macy Chiasson has a ground game where she can potentially expose Yana Santos. But from her recent performance, I actually think that Yana Santos has been putting it together a little bit. And the reason that it's making me stop, and I still don't think you should be betting on this one. It's just an underdog where it's like, she has a chance. She beat Misha on the feet so bad last time around that I think that her striking's been improving. But the problem is it just Misha Tate being that bad? She's been putting together some good technique. She's been looking good, but this is a little bit of a worrying one, in my opinion. This is an underdog opportunity that I would take a stab at. It's the other two that I really, really like, okay? So Yana Santos is going to be our first underdog opportunity. But now let's talk about Chris Gutierrez, guys. Guys, Chris Gutierrez should not be this big of an underdog against Farid Basharat. I wholeheartedly believe this should be a pick'em fight. I really do believe that. Guys, we just saw it with Javid Basharat, who is very similar to Farid Basharat. We saw a step up in competition against a guy who has a lot of ranked experience, and he showed that there were levels to this game. This same thing could happen to Chris Gutierrez. And while I do know that Farid Basharat is not Javid Basharat, and I know that Ricky Simon is a far superior fighter, in my opinion, to a Chris Gutierrez, there is a clear experience difference in Chris Gutierrez compared to the guys that Farid Basharat has fought. And I see a world where Chris Gutierrez circles, takes out that lead leg of Farid Basharat, who likes to, stick it out there, be a little bit heavy on. I see a world where he chops him down like a tree and just circles the entire time and has a classic Chris Gutierrez performance. I think this is a pick'em fight. I don't know who's going to win this fight, but to get Chris Gutierrez at the odds that he's at, I've seen him at 4-1. I think that's ridiculous. And I like Chris Gutierrez's chances 1,000%, okay? But in saying that, Farid Basharat, he's still a great fighter. He could just take down Chris Gutierrez the whole time, okay? I just think the value is insane on Gutierrez right now, okay? Let's talk about one more underdog opportunity, and this is a little bit more of a gut feeling, okay? And this is one that I still want to take a stab at. Khalil Roundtree. Guys, I think that Khalil Roundtree has been improving. I think that Khalil Roundtree, I see a world where Khalil Roundtree starts countering Yuri Prochazka. I see a world where he uses those oblique kicks to his advantage, stopping Yuri Prochazka. I can see Yuri getting his leg chopped, kind of like we were just talking about Chris Gutierrez, and just picked apart in the chaos that Yuri Prochazka tries to bring forth to the octagon. I know that chaos could very well overwhelm Khalil Roundtree. My gut's telling me that Khalil might get this one, man. And I think that he's been improving. He has a lot of aura right now within his fight style. And guys, the day is going to come where we see Yuri Prochazka's style not work. I also think on top of that, and we spoke about this in the full card breakdown, I think everybody is way overlooking like this new technical version of Yuri Prochazka. Yeah, he showed a little bit more head movement. His hands were up a little bit more, but it's not nearly a new version of Yuri Prochazka. The day is going to come, and it's going to come soon, where Yuri can't take the damage that he typically takes in fights. Khalil has some good sting on his shots. I don't mind Khalil Roundtree at all in this fight, okay? With that being said, guys, let's move on to a few fights that I believe you should not be betting on, okay? And for this first one that we're going to be talking about, I like a round line for this. I don't know what the round line is going to be, but it's going to be Daniel Santos versus Ju Sang Yu. I think these are two incredible prospects fighting each other. Daniel Santos, he has been putting things together. He's a shoot box fighter. He's a well-rounded fighter. He is a guy that's been on a little bit of a roll, but nothing spectacular. Taking on Ju Sang Yu, who made a statement coming into the UFC, but he's also very green, okay? He is one of those fighters that a lot of people are hyped up on, and he very well could get fraud checked, okay? He hasn't proven anything inside the UFC yet. I know people are talking about like, ooh, he kind of moves like Conor McGregor sometimes. He kind of comes out with the lead leg, I get why people will be excited, and I'm excited for the potential of Zombie Jr. as well. I get that, okay? He's very motivated. He's very exciting. I think this is a well-made matchup by the UFC with two really strong prospects. I see a path to victory for Daniel Santos, and I see a path to victory for Ju Sang Yu. I would stay away from this fight, but I do like a round line for this one, okay? I just know, I want to mention this fight specifically because I know a lot of people have been talking about the potential for Ju Sang Yu. It could very well be there. He could come in there and shine. I'm not nearly confident enough to bet on him yet, okay? Let's continue on over to Edmund Shabazian versus Andre Muniz. Guys, when it comes to Edmund Shabazian, he is one of the most inconsistent fighters in the UFC. I don't know how he's going to show up, and for that reason, he's one of those fighters that I'm not going to bet on. Andre Muniz is a very, very underrated fighter still, in my opinion, and he's been losing to some very good guys, okay? Keep that in mind. I don't like betting on an Edmund Shabazian fight at all, so we'll leave it at that. Let's continue on over to Josh Emmett versus Yusuf Zalal. Now, hear me out for this one, okay? And I spoke about this in my full card breakdown. If you're interested, again, go check out that video. I expand upon what I'm about to say over here, okay? I went into this card with Yusuf Zalal, lock of the week. I think that he is... I was planning on betting on him. I think he is... It's phenomenal for the matchup. But Josh Emmett is changing... he's changing things up massively for this fight specifically. He is training full-time under TJ Dillashaw. I don't know, and if you guys have been following the channel, you might know how much I respect the mind and the skills of TJ Dillashaw. I just wonder if he's going to end up changing something that Josh Emmett does, because historically Josh Emmett comes in, overhand, miss all my shots, overhand, miss all my shots, not use my wrestling. Maybe we're going to see some more fight IQ. Maybe we're going to see some more volume from Josh Emmett. I just don't know if he's going to come in a changed version of Josh Emmett. If there's an improved version of Josh Emmett that can come into the octagon with the power that he possesses, he could be a force to be reckoned with in this division. But I question it because Josh Emmett, it's difficult to change up a style of a fighter who's been fighting for as long as Josh Emmett, and he's almost 41 years old in a lighter man's weight class. So I'm unsure if he's actually going to show up a different version of Josh Emmett, but because I respect the abilities and the mindset of TJ Dillashaw so much and his mind for the sport, it halted me completely from betting on Yusuf Zalal. I wouldn't be shocked if Josh Emmett came in here a different fighter. But I don't blame you at all. If you like Yusuf Zalal, he'll probably circle, dodge the overhands. I see the path to victory, okay? I'm staying away from this one. I don't know what version of Josh Emmett that we're going to get, okay? And again, we expand upon that in the full card breakdown, okay? For the final fight, I don't believe you should be betting on it. Unless you like a round line, maybe it's going to be Usman Nurmagomedov versus Paul Hughes. Guys, you saw it the first time around. The guys went to war. They had a great back and forth fight, and both guys are championship caliber fighters. I don't think you should be betting on a winner this time around unless you like a round line between the two, but I don't even know what that would come out to be. So this one, I would also stay away from. Now, guys, with that being said, let's continue on over to Lock of the Week, the fighter on the card that I believe has the best chance of winning. Although there are no true locks in the UFC, this is the best shot that you're going to get at a lock, in my opinion. Merab Dvalishvili. And I spoke about this in my full card breakdown, if there's anybody in the division right now who could beat Merab, it's Corey Sandhagen. And it wouldn't shock me if he got the job done, and Merab is due for an upset. How could you not pick Merab Dvalishvili at this point in his career? He's not only dominating every single person besides Umar Nurmagomedov, which he even got the better of as the fight went on. He's dominating literally the greatest division in combat sports history. Dominating them. All of these great fighters, the greatest fighters in the entirety of combat sports, are suffering to this guy's pressure. And he's not slowing down. And not only is he not slowing down at 34 years old, he's still evolving his game. His stand-up's getting better. How can you not pick Merab Dvalishvili at this point? I know he's due for an upset, but if you want to lock, that's the best that you're going to get with the way that he's going to perform, okay? But let's continue on up the video, guys, okay? The more unstructured part of the video. Let's take a look at any props that are available right now. See if there's anything that we like for this card, okay? Walker and Hardy, probably going to go over 2.5. I almost included Punahele Soriano in the confident picks, but I'm not completely sold on him yet. Yana Santos, Macy Chiasson, I don't mind a submission from Macy Chiasson. I don't mind this fight going under, but it's not something that I would bet on. Fareed Basharat, Chris Gutierrez, that's probably going to go to a decision. If Fareed Basharat can take down Chris Gutierrez, I don't think Chris can finish Fareed Basharat, but if Fareed can take down Chris Gutierrez, Chris has some very underrated, has some very, very underrated ground defense. So I don't mind this even being a parlay piece. I hate MMA parlays, but I know a bunch of you guys like to top it up. So over 2.5, I don't hate for that one. I'd be interested to see what the 1.5 ends up being at. Of course, this fight ended up being canceled. Yusuf Zalal and Josh Emmett, not going to touch that one. To be honest with you, Merab and Corey Sandhagen probably is going to go over 2.5. What else do we have over here? Alex Pereira, Magomed Ankalaev. I don't trust Pereira's power to bet on a round line over there. Khalil Roundtree and Yuri Prohashka. That's a gamble with your money. Same with Joe Pyfer, Boost Magomedov. I don't know if Joe's going to finish the fight. Over 1.5 for Andre Muniz and Edmund Shabazian at plus 130. There's a world where Edmund wrestles and there's a world where Andre Muniz wants to grapple, because Andre Muniz was also open about going back to his jiu-jitsu roots. And if Edmund has a wrestling to nullify the jiu-jitsu, that could go over 1.5. I don't hate that. Okay, so over 2.5 for Jusang Yu and Daniel Santos at minus 133. I like a 1.5. 2.5 is too risky for me, but I like a 1.5 for this one. So I pay attention to see what the odds come up for that one, because that's something I'd consider doing myself. Over, I don't mind the under for this one at all. The under for Austin Vanderford, I could see him getting a finish, but still not something that I would bet on. I'm not a big under guy, to be honest with you guys. I'm not a big under guy. Jacob Wallace versus Patchy Mix over 2.5 minus 143. Not bad. Not bad. So there's some potential there for a couple props, but let's get into a little bit, again, the more unstructured part of the video over here. Let's see what we can do for some ridiculous parlays. If you guys have been following the channel, you might know that my sister and I, we put 10 cents on every single underdog every week. We were almost millionaires one time watching Bellator. What do we get for 10 cents this time around? $158,000 if all the underdogs win. Not gonna happen. Okay, let's pick some confident picks over here. Okay, we're gonna pick Austin Vanderford. We're gonna pick Veronica Hardy. We're gonna pick Joe Pyfer. We're gonna pick we're missing fights, aren't we? We're missing fights. Oh, it was one championship of PFL. That's why I was a little bit stranged out. Okay, we picked Merab Dvalishvili, Magomed Ankalaev. That is not worth it. Dude, with MMA parlays, and this is why I opened up about how much I hate them at the beginning of the video, there is something that is bound to go wrong. What if we add to it, though? I don't want to add Yana Santos. We can add Punahele Soriano over there. What if we add a good old Chris Gutierrez booster there and a good old Khalil Roundtree booster? That's honestly still not worth it. If you want to get how do I feel about let's get something over to again, I hate parlays, but let's get something into the plus money over here. We're gonna pick Joe Pyfer. I like Joe Pyfer a lot. Joe Pyfer and Merab together, that's almost 2 times your money. Joe Pyfer Magomed. Bang. There we go. I like that. But still, with those odds, those are something that I would just play as is, to be honest with you. If you're getting a little bit risky, over here, you can pick a Veronica Hardy's such a big favorite. That's ridiculous, man. That's ridiculous. Maybe a Merab, and what can we juice that up with? If you want to use Merab as a little bit of a juicer, what can we do? What can we do over here? No, we already did Merab and Joe Pyfer. Yeah, it was 180. I like Joe Pyfer this time around, guys. I do. Merab and Veronica Hardy together, that would shock me if that lost. But it's MMA. You never know, man. You never know at all. Maybe a Punahele Soriano. Maybe. If anything, guys, I like Merab and Joe Pyfer together. I like that. And what was the other one that we did? Joe Pyfer and Magomed Ankalaev. I'm pretty confident that those guys get the job done. So that's a parlay that you might be able to work with. But again, keep in mind that parlays are very, very, very touchy in MMA. That's how you lose your money, okay? If you want to talk about these cards or these fights as deep as we could possibly get into them, then check out the full card breakdown right here. I would love to have you over there. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.